Thanks for staying with us. So today's hot topic is the news about the Afrobeat sensation David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, who came under heavy criticism over his recent remark advising Black Americans against relocating to Nigeria. According to Davido, it's not cool back home. The economy is in shambles. The comments, however, attracted reactions from high, low, middle, everybody, politicians, regular folks, Gen Zs, Gen Alpha has even joined the conversation at some point. What are your thoughts on this? You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081 0764 1679 090 241 6440. You can also send us messages on X and YouTube. We'll be happy to read your comments. Sorry, Mariam. It's not the first time we're seeing notable people criticize Nigeria abroad. I think there was a time where our former president said that Nigerian youths were lazy, right in the UK, and there was a lot of criticisms that some said, he's in line. Others are saying it was wrong for him in that capacity to say that kind of thing in the UK. So what are your thoughts on this? On this comment? I don't know who would like to go first. Nymat.
So when you are a person of influence, Davido cannot... He's a person of influence. He's a Nigerian of influence. And it should be... That's where you must add maturity to what you do. So America is bad. But you see their artists and their actors mention it. I just saw what's his name?
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black yesterday, because my Netflix, they increased subscription and debited me. I vexed and went to the app and stood back and see whether they have...
Very raunchy series. I'm surprised
it was a very raunchy one. But what got me, I didn't even read the intro of the movie. I just saw Beauty in Black and thought it was one kind of that. Yeah. Those kind of black movies I used to watch back in the days, and I started it. And the first scene showed an accident. An accidental homicide. Initially, it wasn't even an accident, homicide. It was an accident. And the person just leaves the body there.
Right.
Said reality number one is possible. It shows, the intrigues of a company, whether the chemicals are good or not, how it leaves people in cancers.
Exception.
And it shows that. And I loved that. That they're showing that their system too gets inside the faults. And then that accident led to another crime, that crime being covered up. So the scene of the crime being covered up, a police officer was on the scene. There was suggestions as to the system, their police system, being corrupt. But what did they do in that movie? They didn't allow the police officer on the field, at the scene of the crime, carry out corruption. They only suggested calls were being made. They didn't get to him on time, but they tried to cover up a crime. What we see in Nigerian movies that will show that our own police, they don't have anything. As if, every single day our police system, like we're Cuba, one of those countries in the Southern American countries, as if everything have spoiled for you. But that's not true. And we see that every system has its faults. I like that movie showed it, but didn't portray that that's how the system lets it get away. Because it doesn't always get away here. We sit there and we allow our places of influence be where we advocate that is bad, it can never be good, it's worse. We condemn our own. So Davido is a person of influence and should be more guarded in his utterances, especially about the country that has given him that fame. Imagine that Davido started his music at career in the US. He will be competing with the Americans. But now, because he started from here, when it became the time for Africa to be on the scene, they are collaborating with him. You don't throw where you are from in the pits. This is your source, and I'm just very disappointed, personally.
What are your thoughts on this?
I'm not disappointed, though. I feel that Davido told his truth. And Davido told his truth in a way that Nigerians feel like, don't insult us outside. Let us insult ourselves inside the house. But you don't know, even in the privilege of Davido being Davido, what he's having to deal with as being a Nigerian. And the fact that he should not have a right to complain because he has hustled out an advantage from the challenges of Nigeria, I do not agree. I do not agree that he doesn't have a right to complain. I do not agree that he doesn't have a right to lament. I don't know. Did he lie? No, but did Davido lie? So the question is, if he spoke his truth, and majority of Nigeria, even the people that are and I'm a very optimistic person, I was doing a voice note out of a frustration that I'm facing on some visa application to countries that do not have the right to wipe the shoe of Nigeria, who are now banning Nigeria. Like, I'm wondering, what's this country? And I wanted to say this Nigeria, and I just had to tell myself, swallow it and say positively. That is how optimistic I am. Even in a private conversation, I do not want to speak bad. But the reality is, he's entitled to his truth. He's entitled to speak his mind. The leaders, and it's not even leaders, the average Nigerian is going through a whole lot, and they have to find a way to vent, and they shouldn't be punished for venting. So don't put him on a pedestal that it's difficult for him to sit on, where he's unable to say it inside, say it outside. Everything you say can be used against you. Let him speak. Let Davido breathe. Let him say his truth, the way he feels it per time. If you disagree with him based on your reality, bring your evidence and say your own. If not, pray for Nigeria, which is what we are good at doing anyway.
Mariam, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, for me, I think I have learnt my lesson based on, there was a conversation we had. This was a young man that had come online one time and I think was being interviewed by the UK government concerning Nigerians jackpying and using...
Just running his mouth.
Yeah, using some method, almost like scamming the system. And in my mind, you know, I believe that he was speaking the truth. And I did not understand why he got so much hate for speaking the truth. And, you know, a lot of the feedback I got is that as Nigerians, you must always represent us positively, that there are different platforms. And each platform has a kind of message that you must give. You know, there's a side of you that you must showcase. So if you're on a world or global platform and you're representing your country, please make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. And so, given that experience, you know, I looked at this differently, which is, yes, Davido is such a huge personality, he's such a person of influence. It would have made really good impact if what he said was something positive about our country. Because whether we like it or not, maybe we don't believe government officials, they don't listen to, sometimes not even your pastors, but that's your musical celebrity. Yeah. He's likely to influence, yes, you know, he's likely to influence and send a message. And, you know, what Nymat said, talking about Hollywood, I also understand that they are quite deliberate in everything that they do. On their international platforms, with their movies, they're sending a certain narrative. So even though every day life in America is, you know, is a struggle for many, many people, for international outside, you know, for those of us looking in from the outside, we see a different story that is painted. And whether we like it or not, the way that they paint their stories doesn't only just give us, the outsiders, like a view of their country, it also helps them to be a little more patriotic, you know, towards their country and to do better for their country, because that's the message that helps to push. That does not mean they don't have their issues. After all, we see them when they're doing their campaigns for elections. We see how they bring up the issues that they are facing and what they require of their government. So I believe that different platforms, different, yes. You remember when just recently, Mrs. Abike Dabiri talked to a group of students and she was encouraging them not to jackpot, they should stay in their country and things like that. You know, and we talked about it. For me, I said, I understood why she had to say what she said at that platform, the way that she said that message, you know, to those kids. It was important. That is sort of a message that you should give to young Nigerians that are about to step out, to remind them of home. But there are tables like these where we sit down, we must tell the truth to each other. And the truth is that there are lots of things going on wrong economically, you know, human-wise in our country. Now, does it mean that it's because our government has completely failed? They don't know what they're doing. There are policies that have been taken that is hurting us so bad. But we also understand why it has been taken. There are some policies that have been taken, and we don't understand it, and we don't know where it's going to. That, you know, we know of the tightening of belts, but we don't see that our leaders are doing the same. So these are our issues, and we talk about it here at the kitchen table. But when we go outside, we say the good about our country.
We're very short. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.